Cleopatra remains one of the most enigmatic and debated figures throughout the annals of human history. As of today, numerous facts about her life have been uncovered, illuminating the life and times of this fascinating queen. In this discussion, we delve into the depths of Cleopatra's legacy, a name that echoes through the corridors of time and history, a name familiar to many, not merely through academic pursuit, but through the tapestry of cultural lore that has painted her in various hues of intrigue and mystique. The question arises, is it true that she was the product of incestuous relations between her kinsfolk and that this lineage had repercussions on her physical appearance? Furthermore, why was there such an intense desire amongst many men to engage intimately with the Egyptian queen? It is with grave importance that we examine the circumstances under which Cleopatra purportedly ordered a pregnant captive's abdomen to be cut open, a tale that demands our attention to the end, to grasp the full magnitude of the story's implications, and to understand the intricacies of her life as a victim of incest. First and foremost, allow us to present a startling revelation. Incest or inbreeding was a practice actively engaged in during ancient epochs. Prevailing wisdom of the time suggested that the mingling of bloodlines within a family ensured the birth of a child of reliable lineage, a child destined to become the legitimate and true heir. It is within this context that Cleopatra entered the world, born to a brother-sister pair from the renowned Ptolemaic dynasty. The unforeseen consequences of such close familial breeding on the health, the stature, and the very visage of the future queen of ancient Egypt could not have been fully anticipated. Cleopatra's struggle with obesity is a matter of historical record, a condition she unfortunately inherited from her parents, who themselves inherited it from their forebears. It is a testament to the genetic predisposition that plagued the Macedonian Ptolemaic dynasty, a lineage marred by excessive corpulence. Furthermore, the much-lauded beauty of Cleopatra has been subjected to scrutiny and skepticism. Academics and her own contemporaries are ready to testify that the queen's allure might have been exaggerated, enshrined in art and film rather than in reality, a point made particularly poignant when iconic actresses of remarkable beauty such as Elizabeth Taylor and Sophia Loren have portrayed her on screen. Yet in historical texts and art, Cleopatra's features are often described with masculine undertones. Her slightly bulging eyes and rounded nose are recurrent themes. Her hair, far from the straight locks of classical beauty standards, was said to be wavy. In those times, it's plausible that different attributes were prized in women. Femininity surely had its place, but it was perhaps the more subtle traits like meticulous grooming and a pleasant, melodious voice that were equally esteemed. Now, let us pivot to the intellectual prowess and the indomitable spirit of the pharaoh queen. The perspicacity and erudition of the queen of ancient Egypt were remarkable indeed, attributes that likely played pivotal roles in elevating her to the throne of a powerful and opulent empire. Her education, a subject of much fascination, was comprehensive and multifaceted. The first point of interest to highlight is her polyglottism. Cleopatra's mastery of languages was exemplary. She was expected to be fluent in her native Greek, as well as Egyptian dialects. Over the course of her education, the queen managed to master no fewer than 7 languages, an accomplishment that underscores her intellectual capacity and independence from the need for interpreters. Moreover, Cleopatra's educational pursuits were not limited to the study of foreign tongues. She excelled in both the humanities and the natural sciences, a Renaissance woman long before the Renaissance. In her formative years, she immersed herself in literature, philosophy, music, and mathematics. Her proficiency with musical instruments was renowned, as was her intimate familiarity with the great literary works of her day. Later in life, Cleopatra demonstrated her literary inclinations by composing poetry and singing with a level of proficiency that captivated audiences. The queen also dabbled in scientific research before turning her considerable intellect to the arena of politics. It is said that before assuming her role as a state official, Cleopatra served in an advisory capacity to members of her family. Charismatic, witty, and with a sense of humor that could disarm the most stoic of men, Cleopatra's magnetism drew the attention of Rome's greatest. How else could one explain the allure that ensnared the likes of Gaius Julius Caesar, who found himself utterly beguiled by the queen's charm. Following Caesar's demise, Cleopatra's attentions shifted to Mark Antony, a pairing that has become legendary in its own right. Cleopatra's relationships with men were complex and multifaceted, characterized by a consumerist attitude. She maintained a harem populated with young men ready to fulfill her every desire. Her sovereignty was absolute, allowing her the freedom to act upon her slaves with impunity. Among the most shocking of legends is the account of Cleopatra commanding the disembowelment of a pregnant slave, driven by a morbid curiosity about the development of the embryo within the womb. Such an extraordinary request was met with compliance. After all, Cleopatra's commands bore the weight of law. It is also noteworthy that the queen's formidable personality granted her the ability to amass throngs of men, each aspiring to share her bed, despite the grim reality that such an encounter would likely culminate in a fatal outcome for her consorts. The phrase, "to pay for intimacy with one's life," became quite literal in the context of Cleopatra's court. If we consolidate these various aspects of her character and reign, we arrive at an indisputable conclusion. Cleopatra possessed an extraordinary aptitude for forging connections with men, utilizing her charisma and political acumen to ensure her dominion remained unchallenged. With fellow politicians, she could broker deals to neutralize threats to Egypt, while with commoners, she maintained an indulgent and at times lethal control. Why did she resort to such extreme measures? The inquiry elicits curiosity about Cleopatra's motives for acting so ruthlessly. To comprehend this, one must grasp the societal norms and values of the era. Cleopatra was a sovereign, an embodiment of divinity and authority. The nobility, her kin, held a place of prominence, while commoners, particularly slaves, held little worth. Thus, the queen's worldview permitted her to dispense with them as she saw fit. Additionally, the elimination of her lovers post-encounter was a calculated political strategy to prevent any indiscretions that could potentially compromise her or her empire's security. The enigma surrounding Cleopatra's demise further fuels the mystique. At the age of 38, Cleopatra faced an existential crisis as Octavian conquered Egypt and failed to find common ground with the queen, who desperately sought a peaceful resolution. Aware of the dire consequences awaiting her, including the possibility of being paraded in defeat and stripped of her riches, Cleopatra made the fateful decision to end her life, choosing the dignity of death over the humiliation of capture. The precise manner of her death, whether by the bite of an asp, poison, or opium, remains a topic of scholarly debate, as does the location of her final resting place. In conclusion, Cleopatra's dual nature as both a divisive figure and a paragon of greatness continues to captivate and provoke discussion. Although her physical allure may be contested, it is her indelible character that has established her as an iconic figure in the tapestry of ancient Egyptian history.